Yes, we are at Carrow Road in Norwich. It's a dry, cool day, a bit cooler than we were expecting, but certainly been warmer than of late. What sort of game should we expect? Alex alluded to it there with from William Hill in saying that we've got a very tight defence against a fairly free-scoring team when they're on their game. What's going to happen today?
Well, I think we're going to see a genuine test of that Burnley defence. You know, they've been so good, but this Norwich side, when they get their flow, are pretty spectacular. Ultimately, you can sit there and defend against this Norwich team in a really good shape. But they've got a player that if you give him a yard from 30 yards out, he can just shift it and hit and smash it in the top corner. So that's what I'm interested to see is, are Burnley, yes, defensively solid, but are they going to be able to stop Boyer Science? He's just been in such incredible form. He scored so many goal of the season contenders already. So that's the interesting part for me is Burnley going to be able to contain? And actually, are they going to test this Norwich defence? Because they haven't been very good. They've looked suspect at times. They're still working things out in the way that they play out from the back. Will Burnley today, will Scott Parker go, actually, today's the day that we try and show that we can maybe press a bit higher. Koleosho's back in the side. Rodriguez is back in the side. Sarmiento in behind them as well. They've got the players to do it. It's just, are they holding themselves back still because of what the manager wants?
It's quite interesting that Norwich have taken out a 35-year-old from their team, someone who has legendary status at Burnley in Ashley Barnes, and another man who has legendary status at Burnley has come in to the Burnley team, Jay Rodriguez.
Yeah, exactly. I think obviously Barnes is coming back from injuries, and I think they want to be very, very careful with him. Rodriguez this season has been sort of dipping in and out, and again maybe because of his age and his injury history, another one that's kind of being managed by Scott Parker, and he's picking and choosing when he wants him. Today's the day when, if they can and they win the ball back against this Norwich side, they want to get it into the centre forward and then play off, because Norwich can leave gaps.
You said you played with Scott Parker, that was at West Ham.
Yeah.
He played here actually for a couple of months on loan when he was, I think he was 19 or 20. Obviously had a stellar career, and he was a very reliable midfielder. And he always strikes me, when you see him in press situations, pitch side, very calming presence, very straight, very organised. Is that how he is? And is that part of the reason why they're so solid as a team?
Yeah, he comes across with that very much so. I think he changes a bit when he walks through the dressing room door. He was very animated and passionate as a captain, taking over Alan Kirbishley many a time to finish the team talks ahead of the manager, which I think says everything about the character that he had at that point. So, yes, very calm, very cool, dress sense and all, but very, very passionate, and probably a different person when he gets in the dressing room with his players.
And I guess in some respects things didn't go very well at Brugge, did they, at all? So he's not had to reinvent himself, but he's just had to get back on the wheel again.
He has, but you know, his record certainly at this level has been outstanding.
2 promotions.
Absolutely, with 2 different sides, and looking like they could certainly do it this season with Burnley. So I think his CV is just getting better and better. It's just maybe that style again that people will start to look at and go, you know, is there a bit more to Scott Parker or not? But I just think he's still got so much to come from him. Like I said, having spent a lot of time with him as a captain, I just think he takes every detail so importantly, and knows what he wants from his side.
Just quickly, talking about captains, I know he's not the club captain, but he's the regular captain on the pitch. Kenny McLean, out again, another 4-match suspension. He already served 4-match suspension. What did you make of that incident at QPR that was looked at retrospectively and has, in the end, resulted in him missing another 4 games?
I mean, ultimately, if they feel that the action of violent conduct was there, you can't really have any complaints. The issue that they have, and they're right about that, is that, hang on, well, let's go back and look at lots of other instances that happened in games. Why haven't they been pulled up? And it seems like Kenny McLean has been singled out as such. I think that's how they'll feel. But take the incident on its own and with its own merits, and then take the ban from that. But it just feels a little bit unjust that it seems that Norwich are the ones that lose out because of it, and many others maybe haven't.
And so in his place as captain, doing the handshake in the middle just a few minutes ago, was Shane Duffy, who will play in central defence for Norwich. The two teams ready and willing. Our referee is Andy Madley, a regular Premier League referee who refereed last season's FA Cup final. Is going to get this match underway with a backdrop of a chorus of On the Ball City from the home fans. The oldest football chant in the world, would you believe, from Norwich City. And it's Burnley who get this game underway in their traditional claret and blue. They're defending the River End away to our right, so attacking what is known as the Barclay End away to our left. Norwich, likewise, in their customary yellow and green, attacking the River End, which tells you everything you need to know, because they must have won the toss, because they always want to play the other way in the second half.
Of course. I mean, two sides that really like to keep possession. Norwich third for average possession this season, and Burnley fourth. So it's going to be a battle for who can get control of this game from the start.
Norwich have an early corner away to our right on this near side of the field, which Marcelino Nunez, the Chilean, will take, right-footed, towards the edge of the 6-yard area, and it's headed in by Jose Cordoba. Norwich City have taken the lead after 60 seconds from a set piece, delivered by Nunez, executed by Cordoba for his first Norwich City goal. What a start for the Canaries. Norwich 1, Burnley 0.
Well, it didn't take long, did it, to get through that stubborn Burnley defence, because it was wide open from the corner kick. Big gap at the near post that opened up. Nunez hits it perfectly onto the corner of the 6-yard box, and there's Cordoba to get in head of his man. Estes just gets caught. Rodriguez can't get out from the near post quick enough, and Cordoba with a powerful header down and across Trafford into the far corner. It's a great start for Norwich.
And no one would have expected the team, who've only conceded 7 goals from 20 games this season, to concede after 60 seconds.
No, and not so cheaply as well. Like I said, they had the defenders there. They just allowed Cordoba to have a 5-yard space that he ran into, and once he got there, finished brilliantly with the header.
Jose Cordoba, signed from Levski Sofia in the summer. He's a Panamanian international, and that's his first strike in yellow and green. And it's put a bit of an onus onto Burnley now, who've so often this season managed to hold teams. In fact, no fewer than 13 clean sheets from their 20 games prior to today.
Yeah, absolutely magnificent, isn't it? And it's exactly what Norwich will have wanted, to have broken that early. Make them come out of their shells, this Burnley team.
Nunez has robbed Cullen of the ball, and Norwich are coming forward away to our right. Their tails are well and truly up here after that goal so quickly from the start, and they're trying to maintain that momentum, and it's certainly got the crowd behind them.
Yeah, really good there from Nunez, spotting the pass, intercepting, playing it to Schwartau. He's just had a little bit of an eye roll from Boyer Sainz, who wanted that nice and early so he could get at the fullback.
We've had 3.5 minutes at Carrow Road. It's Norwich 1, Burnley 0. And as Dean pointed out a few moments ago, just before kick-off, Scott Parker's dress sense is very cool indeed. He's looking very cool, even with his team a goal down. As Norwich come forward again, and the shot is sent across the face of the 6-yard area by Emi Marcondes, who's been a good introduction to the Norwich team and has really found his form in recent weeks. He's a very hard-working, skillful, attacking midfielder who's actually Scott Parker's first signing when he was Bournemouth manager, Emi Marcondes.
Yeah, it's a really clever bit of business from Norwich City, bringing in a player that's got plenty of experience at this level, that the manager knows and can slot straight into the side, and he's formed a nice partnership, him and Sainz, over on that left-hand side.
Burnley have it just inside the Norwich half, which is to the left of the halfway line. It's played back into defence. And now at the feet of Maxime Esteve. Across to CJ Egan-Riley, who was forced to go back to his goalkeeper and is heading towards the goal. And James Trafford, who saw the ball flash past him, had to run back and literally do a sliding clearance just in front of his own goal.
Oh, the panic setting in from Trafford as he turns and sprints back towards his own goal. Egan-Riley just got a little shove from Cernats just as he tried to play it back, which meant he hit the back pass past Trafford. He's quick enough though. He's James Trafford. He's just shown he can probably take on some of the outfield players in a sprint.
Well, it's lucky he's only 22. Imagine if he was an elder statesman in goal. So corner kick to Norwich. We've had 5.5 minutes play. They already lead through a Jose Cordoba goal scored from a corner, and this one is a corner from the other side, an in-swinger deep to the back post now, headed across by Shane Duffy, punched clear by Trafford, brought down by Sainz in the penalty area, but Burnley will come away with it themselves, and they try to counter here. This is good play from Burnley, an excellent defensive work by Slimani, and Marcondes is after it. And goodness me, Dean, it's off to a flying start here.
Oh, it is. It's a very bright start from Norwich, I've got to say. Really lifted themselves after the goal, and as they would. It was a great delivery right to the back post from Nunez for Duffy to get his head on. He does everything right. He just heads it right back across and says to one of his teammates, go on, get on the end of that and head it in from a yard. Really good defensive work it was from the Burnley defence.
As much as Johannes Hoff-Torp, the Norwich head coach, would have wanted his team to make an early breakthrough, he wouldn't have expected it that soon. But will there have been an edict to say we get at them quick because we don't want them to settle, Burnley?
Oh, of course. That's what you should always do at home.
But given their record,
yeah, of course.
Burnley come forward now with a deep cross to this near side. It's been kept in and then played back down the line. And Norwich have got possession to go again. Lucas Perez losing out to Oscar Schwartau. Nunez has got Jay Rodriguez all over him, and then eventually Nunez's ball forward will be dealt with by James Trafford. There's barely a time to take a breath here with 7 minutes played. Yeah. You're listening to Talksport 2 live from Carrow Road in the Championship, where it's Norwich 1, Burnley 0. Coming up later on Talksport 2, we have an exclusive Premier League commentary. Chelsea against Brentford. Joe Shannon and the former England captain Stuart Pearce are at Stamford Bridge for that one. Chelsea more than likely changing almost their entire team from the Conference League game they played in Kazakhstan on Thursday afternoon. Burnley have it with Jayden Anthony heading it from this near side, their left, towards the corner of the penalty area. And then as Lucas Perez tries to get possession, he fouls Kellen Fisher in the process.
Yeah, interesting to see Kellen Fisher is back and back straight into the starting lineup, considering Stacey played pretty well, but clearly Fisher's the manager's first choice at right back.
We had such a lively start, I didn't even get the chance to mention the teams in full. Norwich have Gunn in goal, Fisher, Duffy, the goal scorer Cordoba, and Doyle at the back. Nunez, Slimani and Marcondes in midfield, Schwartau, Cernats and Sainz up front. Burnley, Trafford, who we've already heard from in goal. Egan-Riley, Humphreys, Esteve and Perez at the back. Anthony, Brownhill and Cullen in midfield. Koleosho, Rodriguez and Sarmiento up front. Burnley have it now on this near side inside their own half with Jayden Anthony on loan from Scott Parker's former club Bournemouth, and he plays it out to the far side, the Burnley right, deep in Norwich territory, looking to try and get some position there. Koleosho wearing bright orange boots, play then brought to this near side where Lucas Perez is wearing the same footwear, left-footed, short to Cullen, into centre field now, and a long-range effort straight at Angus Gunn from Jeremy Sarmiento, who spent the second half of last season well, you could say it's just down the road. It's Norwich's local rivals, Ipswich Town. He was part of the Championship promotion team that now plays in the Premier League. Sarmiento is on loan from Brighton.
Yeah, it was a decent strike from outside the area from Sarmiento. Had a nice fierceness to it. Anger's good and good handling, but I'd like to see more of that from Sarmiento. Being able just to take it on the back foot, turn 25 yards out, striking towards goal. I think he's capable of that a little bit more than he does. Sometimes takes too many touches.
Slimani robbed of the ball in midfield, collected by Esteve, but his pass, which was intended for Anthony, trickles out of play for a Norwich throw in front of where we're sitting. We're just in that midway inside the Norwich half, just to the left of the halfway line, but we've got a really good view, a clear view of the Carrow Road turf on a cloudy, cool but dry day in Norfolk. It's around 10 degrees centigrade. Here is Schwartau, the teenager, loses out to Pires. Now Cullen in midfield for Burnley, moves it across to his captain Josh Brownhill, and back into Cullen again, and then they're forced to go back about 10 yards to Egan Riley. Esteve uses Egan Riley again, waiting for some movement ahead of him, which he's not getting a great deal of. Esteve coming towards this left side again. Lucas Pires, the Brazilian, back to the Frenchman, Esteve, and now Egan Riley again. Interestingly, CJ Egan Riley's brother Roman played against Norwich yesterday for the under-18s. He was at Tottenham. He's in the Tottenham youth teams. So both Egan Rileys playing against the same club on the same weekend. It's a full house, as you'd expect at Carrow Road, for this Sunday afternoon fixture. Talksport 2 bringing you live commentary, and more to come today on both Talksport and Talksport 2. We've got Southampton, Tottenham in the Premier League on Talksport. Again, like the Chelsea game, a 7 o'clock kickoff. Ian Danta and the former Chelsea defender Scott Minto are at that one. And then tomorrow night, two of Scott Parker's former clubs, Bournemouth and West Ham. Talksport exclusive with Adrian Durham presenting.
Looks like Esteve is going to have to come off. He's just given the universal sign for a substitute. He's really been struggling. He's just put the ball out twice, but Norwich have taken it quickly, not allowed the substitution to happen.
Looks as if they're going to have to make a change, Burnley, as Angus Gunn has it. Wearing what looks like the same shirt that his dad probably wore back in the 1980s and 90s. It's got that retro feel to it. Brian Gunn, of course, a legendary figure here, having played for the club all those years ago. There's movement on the Burnley bench. They trail by 1-0. Jose Cordoba after a minute of play, and now Esteve is on one knee in the centre circle. He's just stretching out. I don't know if I think it must be a hamstring.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, look, that's one area of the field at the moment. They have got cover with Worrell, Egan, Ekdal, all available from the bench.
It's going to be John Egan who's going to come on and replace Maxime Esteve when he gets the chance. Do they want to do it before the throw-in or after the throw-in? It's a Burnley throw over on the far side of the field, but on this near side, after only 13 and a half minutes, Maxime Esteve leaves the field to be replaced by Irishman John Egan, joined on a one-year deal from Sheffield United back in September. So he slots in at centre-back alongside CJ Egan Riley. So an early change, which is always a frustration for the manager, because I'm sure as a manager and a head coach, you've got plans for your substitutions, and an injury always gets in the way.
Yeah, but great to have someone of that experience to bring on into a game like this away from home.
Here is Egan, first touch, moving into the Norwich half, ball out to this near side, the left. Pires going down the line looking for Anthony, shut down by Fisher. Again, it's at Kellen Fisher's feet. I tell you what, Kellen Fisher, he's a very slight in his build, but he's brave, isn't he?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah. He doesn't mind putting himself about and giving as much to the wingers as they try and give him.
He's marshalling Anthony today, but the ball is on the far side now with Luca Koleosho. Looks to get round Doyle. Doyle concedes the corner in front of the Burnley fans. They're packed into one section on the far side of the field, away to the left. Long trip that, all the way down from Lancashire on a Sunday afternoon. And they have a corner kick, which Anthony has gone across to help out with. There are two players there. It could be an in-swinger, could be an out-swinger. Norwich leading by a goal to nil on Talksport 2. A quarter of an hour played. Out-swinging corner, headed away by Fisher, collected by Borja Sainz, who has that incredible turn of pace off the mark. Does Sainz. Incredible how sometimes he just leaves players for dead. He's having to do defensive duties, and in the end, Jay Rodriguez literally upends him and concedes the throw-in.
He does really well, actually, to get out of that with something, because he ended up going down a cul-de-sac on his own in that corner. No real support. Two Burnley players either side. He managed to win a free kick, and actually that's to the detriment of Burnley. They should have really recognised that and just pinned him in.
Borja Sainz was the Championship Player of the Month for September and October. He was even nominated for November as well. He lost out to Finn Azaz. But those 15 goals, 2 hat-tricks within those 15 goals, have certainly alerted a lot of people around Europe. He was signed from the Turkish club Giresunspor. There's even been talk of him going to Galatasaray potentially. But I wonder whether anyone will come in for him in the January transfer window. That's something that a Norwich fan won't want to hear. I better whisper that.
Yeah. I mean, they'll know. They'll know that there'll be teams looking for sure. But it's going to take a lot. It's going to take a really good bid if any team wants him in January.
Burnley have it midway inside the Norwich half, away to our left. Josh Brownhill out to Koleosho at the angle of the penalty area. Feeds it down the line, looking for the run of Humphreys, but Norwich have turned it over, and Sainz is away down the far side of the field, up against Egan Riley. Sainz to the edge of the box, but Egan Riley watched it all the way and then turns around and basically balls out one of his teammates, Bashir Humphreys, for not doing his defensive duties.
Well, just being caught, wasn't it? Totally out of position was Humphreys. And Egan Riley just making that point to him. He did well though, Egan Riley. He didn't commit himself because Sainz is waiting for that. He's so good at a quick change of direction. And he just stood his ground, waited until the ball got close enough to him to just poke it away.
You're listening to live football on Talksport 2, live from Carrow Road, where Norwich lead Burnley by a goal to nil, and they have a corner away to the right over on the far side of the field, which Marcelino Nunez will take. In swinging towards the back post. It's met by the head of Callum Doyle, but he couldn't get above the ball, and it ends up in the river end.
No, again, it's the delivery, isn't it, from Marcelino Nunez. Always in such a dangerous area with plenty of pace on it. So if you as an attacker can just guide it, you've got the power and the pace on it already. Doyle couldn't quite do it, just under too much pressure, couldn't get off the ground to then steer the header downwards.
Trafford with the goal kick high into the Norwich half as darkness begins to descend on Norfolk. Forward by Burnley, cut out by Doyle, and then back with the goal scorer Cordoba, who uses his goalkeeper Angus Gunn. Now on the D with Marcelino Nunez, and short to Doyle. Warm applause from the fans who appreciate Norwich getting themselves out of defence nice and comfortably. Here's Slimani, on loan from Sheffield United. Back into Nunez again. This stadium sits, just 100 and 200 yards from the river here in Norwich, and news broke this morning that there's an unexploded bomb in the river about 2 miles downriver from where we are. And as far as we're aware, that's now being dealt with. No danger to us here at the stadium. Thankfully, it hasn't been found right behind the river end away to our right. Trafford has come out of his goal and it's been headed into touch for a Norwich City throw-in. We've had almost 20 minutes here. Norwich leading through that very early goal from a corner by Jose Cordoba. Doyle, slightly casual, allows Rodriguez to get a touch on it, but Cordoba can see it back to Gunn. And now Duffy to Fisher on this near side.
Yeah, the pressure's been good though from Burnley when Norwich are trying to play out. That pressure off the ball's been excellent to win it back.
And it's paid off here because they've got the ball just outside the area. A right-footed shot which is off target in the end from Jadon Anthony. It's a decent position and Norwich didn't really close him down.
No, they didn't. Just got tapped past Doyle, who was slightly out of position. Anthony able just to take a touch, and then as he just goes to strike it, actually catches the floor before the ball and therefore just skews it wide because of it. Just turning his foot in the turf as he's trying to shoot.
We mentioned before kick-off that Burnley started this game in 4th place. If they win, they'll go up to 3rd above Sunderland. If Norwich win, they'll move up to 9th from 12th. And they lead now, and they're looking to extend it. Doyle, left edge of the area, in it goes towards Borka Signs. Thumped, literally thumped into the stand by a Burnley player for another Norwich corner.
Yeah, and you can see that's a little bit of play that this manager wants to bring to Norwich City, which is once you break that first press, it's then really quick through to your centre forward, out wide, ball into the box. It was 3 passes from well inside their own half, and they're putting pressure on your goal.
Well, they were doing that at will against Plymouth here a few weeks ago when Wayne Rooney's side were beaten 6-1. It could have easily been double figures that night. Norwich were rampant, absolutely rampant. They have another corner over on the far side away to our right, and again it's Nunez to take it. Plenty of options, including the goal scorer Cordoba. They're bunched up just outside the 6-yard area. In it comes, towering header away by Jay Rodriguez, who lands awkwardly. Also down is Shane Duffy, both of them colliding.
Well, I'm not quite sure exactly what happened there, because Rodriguez, as he goes to head it out, Duffy's already on the floor. So he then trips right over Duffy as he heads it away and just lands awkwardly. Not quite sure why Duffy would already be on the floor. He was obviously bundled over as he tried to make his way towards the near post. He got clattered then by Rodriguez.
He just stumbled his way through a crowd of players, did Shane Duffy, but they're both on their feet again, the two 30-somethings. In fact, Duffy was on loan at Burnley at the start of his career. He only ever played 1 game for them. Of course, he also played for Blackburn, but he's captain of the Canaries today as we hit the midway point of the first half. Jose Cordoba with the only goal so far at Carrow Road. Live on Talksport 2 with more commentaries to come later today. 2 of them from the Premier League. Here's Fisher. Infield to Schwartau on this near side, just inside the Burnley half. Now Nunez has time to look up. Exchanges a pass with Slimani and brings the now recovered Duffy into play. Nunez decides to go long, looking for Sainz. Not cleared properly by Humphreys. Sainz from 20 yards! Saved by the left hand of Trafford and cleared into touch. You mentioned it before kick-off. He can shoot from distance. He scores worldies. They cannot afford to give him a ball like that.
No, and that would have been another one from Sainz. Bashir Humphreys just misread the ball over the top. He thought that Sainz was trying to get him behind. He checked his run. Humphreys then, his clearance was poor, straight to Sainz. He took 1 touch and he looked to arrow it towards that far post with pace and power. Trafford was across it nicely, had read it early. Well, again, that would have been another superb goal from Sainz if that had passed the goalkeeper.
He's an exponent of the dipping shot, isn't he? He knows how to make a ball dip, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's found a lovely technique to his ball striking, certainly this year, and he's really taken advantage of that. And he's a bit greedy with it. You know, every time he gets those positions, he doesn't look to pass, he does look to take it on.
Well, if you're going to score 15 goals in 20 games, then, well, you can give him that freedom, can't you?
Exactly, yeah.
He's not missing the target. I mean, even then, he was on target, and it needed a good save from Trafford. You just heard the voice of Dean Ashton, the former Norwich City striker, on Talksport 2, live from Carrow Road. The floodlights just punching their way through the slightly gloomy, darkening skies here in Norwich. Johannes Hoff-Torp is down there with a puffer jacket on, undone, moving around in his technical area, expressing his frustration to the fourth official for something that wasn't given Norwich's way. But his team do have the ball with Angus Gunn, the Scotland international, down this near side, flicked on by Schwartau, the 18-year-old Dane. Duffy, a bit hard into the feet of Nunez, and Nunez looks towards his captain and thinks, not so hard next time, Shane.
No, exactly, yeah. But Shane's probably looking at him saying, well, you can deal with it.
This is England.
But I'd like to see a little bit more from Burnley. They've had good spells of possession. We haven't seen a lot of Sarmiento or Koleosho. I think two of their more exciting players. Koleosho's come over to this left-hand side now rather than the right. Jadon Anthony's gone over that side to just try and get a bit of joy, but yet to really combine particularly well in those forward areas, Burnley, and it has been a big issue for them this season.
Scott Parker, arms folded, shiny black shoes, smart trousers, and a nice green light puffer jacket with a hood and white bands around the arm.
Yeah, you don't want to know how much that is.
Here's Schwartau. Duffy back to Gunn, away to the left. Norwich in no real hurry. They have the advantage as we move more towards half-time. His signs on the halfway line, short for Marcondes, and across now to Fisher in space. The noise levels increase, the expectation rises, but Fisher's pass is slightly loose. Norwich have to recycle the ball and start again from inside their own half with Cordoba, tall, towering figure with dyed blonde hair. Jose Cordoba. What have you made of him since his arrival?
I think he's settled in superbly, that sort of left-hand sided centre-back. I think they missed him when he was injured, and he's actually formed a really good partnership with Duffy, who had a tough start to his Norwich career, Shane Duffy, but he's really settled in alongside Cordoba.
Marcondes in midfield to Doyle. We're just a few yards inside the Norwich half, then he threads it through, signs left-hand angle of the penalty area, cutting in onto his favoured right foot, no room for a shot, so he tees up Slimani, who tries to check and go the other way. Now it's Nunez, who never was able to set himself under pressure from Rodriguez, who is now screaming at his defenders to get in tighter.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's just a really clever run from Sainz, but poor defending from Humphreys to be just done by a short run and then in behind. Sainz is so sharp, but still, what they did really well there is they know Sainz does want to cut in on the right. I think more and more Sainz has to be able to go down the outside, because teams aren't going to want him to come back onto that right foot, and as soon as he did, it kind of crowded everything out. Slimani the same.
1-0 Norwich lead. 2 Premier League commentaries to come on Talksport and Talksport 2 this evening, both of them exclusive here on Talksport 2. Chelsea-Brentford, the West London derby. Joe Shannon and Stuart Pearce are at that game, and then Ian Danter and Scott Minto will be at St Mary's for Southampton-Tottenham. That game is live on Talksport. We are currently at Carrow Road, where it's Norwich 1, Burnley 0 in the Championship. Elsewhere, with around 20 minutes left at Vicarage Road, Watford lead West Brom by 2-1. Watford would go above West Brom in the table if they were to win that game. Two teams just outside the playoff places at the moment. Norwich a little bit further back, but a win would be a huge lift for them. Burnley, though, wanting to move up to the top 3, especially on a weekend where almost everyone around them were victors. Only Leeds were held. Nunez at walking pace inside the Norwich half, forward to Marcondes. And Nunez again to Fisher.
Yeah, last 10 minutes Norwich have just gained a good bit of solid possession. Burnley's intensity from the start has dipped slightly.
They have it though outside the Norwich area until it's put into touch by Nunez. It's worth pointing out that as good as Burnley's defence is, Norwich's home record has been exceptional. They've only lost once here in 13 months. That's in all competitions. Bristol City beat them earlier this season. They hadn't lost since losing to Blackburn back in November of last year, prior to that Bristol City game. So it's not an easy task to come here and win. Egan Riley out to the far side for Humphreys, midway inside Norwich territory. Back in field it comes to Cullen, and now picked up by Egan on as a substitute for the injured Esteve. Pires played to the edge of the area. They'll try again. Brownhill to the D. Pires desperately trying to find space. Now in the area to the right. Shot from Anthony. And it's into the side netting from where we're sitting. I just hesitated just in case it had crept in, but it struck the outside of the net rather than the inside.
Oh, it did, but in all that play, Lucas Perez, there was a magnificent bit of play where he kind of dragged it behind him and then Cruyff flicked it through the defender's legs in towards Rodriguez, round the corner then for Anthony, who just got it out of his feet, had a sighter, struck it towards goal and just couldn't get his angle right. Simple as that. He's got to try and hit the target from there, surely.
Well, isn't it to be expected if you're a Brazilian signed from Santos? You've got to have touches like that,
yeah.
Lucas Perez.
Absolutely, yeah.
Burnley with Egan coming out of defence on the near side. And here is Lucas Pires. He's having to do it again, this time to get out of trouble. He wins the free kick for the foul by Ante Sirnac, the Croatian. Talked earlier about Oscar Svartau, only 18 years of age. Sirnac is only 20. He turns 21 on Tuesday, and he's on the ball now, just outside the Burnley area. Onto his left foot, drives in the shot, but he couldn't get an angle to force Trafford into anything more than a routine save. And now that ball forward by the goalkeeper almost finds Jadon Anthony.
Yeah, well, it was poor play from Burnley, trying to play into midfield. Poor pass, intercepted by Slimani, then into towards Sirnac. Just gets it out of his feet, wants to strike with the left foot, but actually Egan does really well to just come across and do enough to make him rush the strike and not hit it as cleanly as he would like. Made it easy for Trafford.
Fisher for Norwich gets a tug on the shirt from Koleosho. Marcondes back to Fisher, just shy of the halfway line. Leading 1-0 Norwich. Haven't been able to add a second to that first minute goal scored by Jose Cordoba. In fact, it's gone down as a second minute goal. It was literally just a second or two inside the second minute, because as it went in, I looked at my stopwatch and it said 64 seconds. That goal coming from a Marcelino Nunez corner kick. Talksport 2 live at Carrow Road. Gunn from his penalty area up towards Slimani, cut out by the Burnley captain Josh Brownhill, who himself turns 29 on Thursday. He's scored 6 goals this season in the league. He's Burnley's leading goal scorer from midfield. They might not concede many. They don't score a huge amount, though.
No, I mean, like I said, there's not many goal scorers of a seriously high level in the Championship, full stop. But at the moment, yeah, Burnley struggling to find certainly that one player that can consistently score goals.
Ball has fallen kindly behind Cullen into the path of Marcondes, who's away inside the Burnley half. There are 4 Norwich players left and right. He goes left to the edge of the area with Sainz, who on the overlap finds Doyle, cut out by the sliding challenge of his opposite number, CJ Egan Riley, for a Norwich City throw-in.
I think Doyle's got to do better there. Good play by Marcondes and Sainz. Just lent it towards Doyle inside the area on the left-hand side. Just get your head up and actually pick out a yellow shirt. He just drills it across low. Defenders there in a good position. Got to pick somebody out there.
Throw-in taken, headed out towards the edge of the area, brought down by Marcondes, but he can't control it, though Burnley's clearance goes straight to Duffy. Now Cordoba into Nunez, just inside the Burnley half. Long, sweeping, right-footed ball out to this near side, which eludes Schwartau, and Burnley themselves have a throw-in. We've got 10 minutes left of the first 45. Norwich with this narrow advantage given to them by Cordoba. Watford still leading 2-1 at home to West Brom in the other championship game today. Premier League commentaries to come, though, on Talksport and Talksport 2, both kicking off at 7 o'clock. Here come Burnley down the far side. Anthony on the overlap is Humphreys. Doyle stumbles and concedes the corner kick.
Yeah, it's actually been that. It has been that right-hand side that has got joy. Humphreys has done well to get forwards. He's having a tough time against Sainz 1v1, but Sainz won't really do that defensive work. So Humphreys is making the most of that and getting himself forward, doubling up against Doyle.
Short corner taken on the far side away to our left. Played infield, 25 yards out. Brownhill struck it cleanly, but it was straight at Gunn, and Gunn has released it straight away, and Trafford is midway inside his own half, and his headed clearance isn't that convincing, and he's rushing back to his goal. He was playing like the last man.
He was. Well, he knows he's going to beat Sainz in the air, so he just stepped in, knowing that Gunn was going to hit it long. And I've got to say, in the end, he did well. Was that covering sweeper.
James Trafford began his career as a Manchester City youth player. He's kept 12 clean sheets this season, but he won't be keeping one today. Beaten literally just over a minute into the game. His counterpart at the other end, Gunn, plays it short to the left to Cordoba, who scythes it into the Burnley half, straight to Egan Riley. And trots back towards the halfway line, does the Burnley centre-back. Into central midfield with Cullen, and then the pass from Jeremy Sarmiento is rather wayward, forcing Egan Riley almost back into the right-back position. As we approach half-time, how will Scott Parker and Johannes Hoff-Torup be feeling?
I think Torup will feel really pleased with the performance. After the first 10 minutes when Burnley had good possession, they've been in control. They've broken that clean sheet barrier that Burnley have clearly got and defended nicely against this Burnley side. If I'm Scott Parker, I want so much more from a Sarmiento, Rodriguez, Koleosho in particular. Got loads of pace and trickery, will start showing it, get on the ball a bit more. Anthony's been the only one really that's looked a genuine threat. I'd want much more from my forward line.
No team has scored 2 goals against Burnley in the league this season.
That's mad.
They've lost twice, Sunderland away and Millwall away by the only goal, but no one in league terms has scored 2 goals against them this season. Could Norwich be the first? They have one already. Marcondes over the top down the right. Schwartau, will he get there first? He will. He's into the penalty area. He can't get the cross in. It's going to trickle towards the corner flag. Marcondes collects, then lays it back to Schwartau again. They're coming deeper now, back towards the halfway line. Nunez into centre field for Cordoba. 7 minutes left of the first half. Now out wide to Borja Sainz. Gets the return pass. Almost keeps the ball, even though it's like there was a magnet on his foot, and that ball was like iron filings heading for the magnet. Instead, though, Burnley come away. Koleosho on the near side, at the corner of the penalty area. Right foot, left foot. Oh, he looked like he was being held by Kellen Fisher, claiming his shirt was being pulled. It did look like his shirt was being manhandled.
But I think it's one of those, as you rightly said, as Anthony's got it back now.
On the right side of the penalty area, the far side as we look, that will be a free kick. And he madly has given it.
I just think
a penalty.
I just think this is one of these where I think then Koleosho realises actually how strong Fisher is. He looked like he was past him, and then I just think Fisher's a strong boy, and he just got his body back across. Not sure he's made a big pull, although he has got a little bit of his shirt. I'm not sure it's enough. I don't think it's enough that it means you throw yourself to the floor. I always think the way a player goes down tells you so much of how much actual contact there is.
But he's gone all the way across to speak to Andy Madley to protest it.
I think from his perspective, he'll say, well, my shirt was pulled, therefore he stopped me advancing.
Free kick, though, for Burnley over on the far side as we move towards the final 5 minutes of the first half. Norwich leading by 1-0 here on Talksport 2, live from Carrow Road. 2 players behind this free kick. It's a good position to send in a cross. The majority of the players in the area are lined up along the 6-yard area. Gunn has got Egan Riley in front of him, trying to unsettle the goalkeeper. Norwich are holding firm. Going to have to be alert to this. It's perfect for Anthony to swing it into the heart of the 6-yard box, and it will be left, in actual fact, left-footed, driven in low, which comes off the boot of a Norwich player. It's one of those ones that you weren't necessarily expecting.
I'm not even sure Lucas Perez was expecting it to be low. He can't have, surely, because there actually wasn't a Burnley player there making that run to the near post. So unless he's trying to shoot underneath the wall at that near post, possibly, or maybe just mishit it.
They're into the final 5 minutes at Vicarage Road. Watford still lead West Brom by 2-1 in the other Championship game. It's a Burnley corner from the far side of the field. They're right. It's an outswinger towards the near corner of the 6-yard area, headed out by Cordoba, brought down really well on the far side by Perez to the edge of the box, hooked back, shot coming in from Cullen. Egan wanted to have a shot as well, but Norwich took it off his toes. Brownhill recovers it. Anthony then swings it in. It's too deep, and Gunn will see it out for a goal kick to Norwich.
Yeah, just a half chance on the edge of the area there for Cullen. Wasn't there to strike. Too many yellow shirts in the way. Dealt with Burnley set plays reasonably well. Both Duffy and Cordoba excellent in the air.
2 Norwich players inside the penalty area at the moment. I'm not quite sure what Shane Duffy's doing, but Jose Cordoba's got the ball, plays it short to Gunn, and then Gunn goes long. I think they were trying to just confuse Burnley there. And now Nunez in midfield, one back by Burnley on the halfway line. It's a short ball though, and Sienats almost gets beyond Humphreys. It was Egan Riley nearly put Humphreys under an immense amount of pressure. Throw in for Norwich, which Callum Doyle, on loan from Manchester City, will take, playing at left back. He can play at centre back. He's played there several times this season for Norwich, but he's been a regular in the team as Doyle, 21 years of age. He's a big defender, isn't he, Callum Doyle? He's very well built, even at 21 years of age.
Yeah, and I think there's just still improvements to come. Physically, he's there. It's just positioning and dealing with players 1v1, especially if he's going to play left back. He's going to be up against quick, tricky wingers that want to shift his body quickly. I'm sure that's something he'll continue to work on.
Kellen Fisher on the other side from where Doyle is. That's the near side as we look. Takes the throw down the line into the Burnley half. Sienats lets it run, and then Brownhill comes in to take it back for Burnley and push it to his goalkeeper Trafford. Norwich pressing high there. Sienats forcing another throw in, not allowing Burnley any time on the ball. Perez back to Egan, and now Trafford at the dead ball line away to our right. Sends it to the far side this time, to the feet of Bashir Humphreys. Gets the return from Anthony. There's a man free on this near side in Koleosho, who was screaming for it. Instead, Norwich have won the ball back.
Yeah, they've been patient, Norwich. They haven't looked to go forwards too early towards Sienats. They love to try and play through Nunez, and then once they can burst out, then they can get it wide to Sainz and Schwartau.
Long ball into the Burnley half. We're into the final minute of the first 45. We'll find out how much added time there'll be. We haven't really had many stoppages. There was a momentary stop when Maxime Estev went off injured. Maybe a minute, two possibly, but not much here at Carrow Road. And some of the fans around us are taking the opportunity to get a head start to the refreshment posts around Carrow Road, as Egan Riley sends a long searching ball down the far side, which is almost kept in by Jayden Anthony. If it'd been another couple of yards further forward, he'd have got there. Instead, it's gone out for a Norwich City goal kick. 1-0 they lead. As it stands, they're moving up to 9th in the table, above Sheffield Wednesday on goal difference. 2 minutes of added time to come, and we're into the first of those as Gunn clears into the Burnley half away to the right. Nunez lofts a high ball forward. Humphreys headers it back into the Norwich half, and then Doyle returns the compliment.
Mr. John Bradford. That's John Bradford.
Now it's a free kick for Burnley, just shy of the centre circle. Egan across to, you've got an Egan and an Egan Riley playing at centre back alongside each other for Burnley. Now it's down the right wing, the far side away to the left. Here's Cullen into the area, clips into the back post. Koleosho waiting. Good defensive work by Schwartau to put him off. Koleosho forced back down the line to Egan. Now Koleosho in front of us, midway inside the Norwich half, clips it to the edge of the area, chested away by Cordoba. Then cleared only as far as Humphreys, who's on the halfway line. The play just meanders.
Yeah, I mean, Norwich are very much happy to sit actually quite deep and just allow Burnley to have the ball in front of them, but then feel like they can deal with crosses that come in and also any balls that go in towards Rodriguez. He's just been bullied by the two centre-backs in this half.
Nunez for Norwich, trying to find signs, cut out by Egan Riley. That's a free kick right in front of referee Madley. Taken very quickly because time is of the essence for Burnley. Only 20 seconds left of added time at the end of the first half. They trail by a goal to nil. They're not able to get a cross in from that far side as yet, and they're running out of time. Eventually it's sent in, headed away by Duffy. Further clear by Marcondes, and then it's a bit of juggling from Sainz. Wins the free kick. And referee Andy Madley decides that that's the moment that he'll blow the whistle and bring an end to a first half which was fairly lively. It started very frenetically. Norwich opened the scoring barely 60 seconds in when Marcelino Nunez's corner was headed home by Jose Cordoba for his first Norwich goal. But they couldn't add a second. Burnley threatened here and there. But at half-time, Dean, Norwich have that advantage, 1-0.
Yeah, it was an open start, more open than I expected, actually, at the start of this game. Norwich took advantage, obviously, of the gap left at the near post for Cordoba to head home. And after, it's not been a game of lots of big chances, has it? It's been pretty cagey in the final third. Sainz with just one look at goal, well saved by Trafford. But Norwich will be pretty happy, I think, with that half of football. They've controlled most of it, and they've denied Burnley any real opportunities. As for Burnley, once again, showing that they are really struggling in front of goal to create chances and certainly take them. So it's something else that Scott Parker needs to think about, just trying to find that right balance at the top end of the pitch.
Two teams have headed down the tunnel into the dressing rooms. It's half-time here. They're in added time at Vicarage Road, where Watford still lead West Brom by 2-1. If it stays that way, Watford will move up to 7th in the table. They'll leapfrog West Brom and go 2 points ahead of them with a game in hand. They'll be outside the top 6, only on goal difference from Middlesbrough. And as it stands here, Norwich are moving up to 9th, 5 points off Borough, just outside the playoff places. Second half commentary to come with myself, Mike Sewell, and Dean Ashton here at Carrow Road, where at half-time it's Norwich City 1, Burnley 0.
Talksport 2, official broadcast partner of the English Football League. Talksport Breakfast, in partnership with Arnold Clark, we guarantee the best used car deals in the UK. Move up through the gears every morning with top-of-the-range Sports Edition, ABS, story breaking news, and more goal talk to the gallon. Plus, a stellar lineup of super celebrity sports guests as standard. Talksport Breakfast, every weekday morning from 6 on Talksport with Arnold Clark. We guarantee the best used car deals in the UK.
If you love football, and if you love darts,
yes, double 12,
and if you love Christmas, then you'll love Football Dartsmas, the new festive season of sport on Sky Sports.
Absolutely brilliant.
Get over 200 football games live, plus every match from the PDC World Darts Championship, starting Sunday the 15th.
Christmas has come early.
Merry Football Dartsmas from Sky Sports. Available with no contract on now. 18 plus, UK only broadband, 2.5 megabytes per second required.
Get in! Finally found the perfect sofa. A massaging, reclining, pink chaise longue. What a win. Only thing is, I haven't shopped on this site before.
Maybe use PayPal. It could help you feel secure, knowing your card and bank information is safely stored.
Oh, good call. Looks like I'm sitting pretty. Wait.
Really? You're better than that. Don't just pay. PayPal.
Well, jingle my bells, Moonpigs. Don't you all look festive? Yes, especially you. I see Christmas stickers, photos, videos, handwritten messages, and such jolly designs. Now, get on your sleigh or skates. For the UK's most personalised card this Christmas, nothing beats a Moonpig.com. Use code XMAS20 to get 20% off cards. To verify, see www.moonpig.com/personalised.
Merry Christmas, my love.
Merry Christmas, Mum.
Merry Christmas, Nanny.
Happy New Year! From the first mobile phone call to the first text message, here's to 40 years of Christmas on Vodafone, the nation's network. The Nations Network, Vodafone UK, supporting the nation since 1984. Learn more at vodafone.co.uk/network.
'Tis the season for feasts to astound. With Lidl's turkeys, you'll satisfy all round. We won't be beaten on price with fresh British whole turkeys from just $2.95 per kilogram. Have a magical Christmas with Lidl. On sale from 19th and price match in most major UK supermarkets until the 24th. Lidl.co.uk/spend less while stocks last, exclusions apply.
Talksport 2, official broadcast partner of the Premier League and the English Football League.
Big ticket, stick it in the back of the net. Monday night Premier League football. Bournemouth versus West Ham. Build up 7:30, kick-off 8 p.m. And he scored! Energised and exclusive on your festive 50 favourite football station, Talksport. What a winner! Jingle bells, jingle balls, jingle goals.
Hard-hitting football coverage. On DAB+, online, via the Talksport app, and on your smart speaker.
An absolutely magnificent effort!
EFL Live on Talksport 2.
In their traditional claret and blue, they're defending the River End away to our right, so attacking what is known as the Barclay End away to our left, right-footed towards the edge of the 6-yard area, and it's headed in by Jose Cordoba. Norwich City have taken the lead after 60 seconds.
Cordoba with a powerful header down and across Trafford into the far corner. It's a great start for Norwich.
After we're done with our game here at Carrow Road, we'll have live commentary of a London derby with everything at stake.
To Jackson, back to Palmer. Oh, what a goal! It's fantastic! It's Cole Palmer!
I'm just enjoying what I'm seeing. To start talking about winning the Premier League title is way too premature.
To be in the title race is nice pressure, but it's not our key.
Enzo Maresca won't admit it, but surely now they're title contenders, just 4 points behind Liverpool at the top of the table.
They've only lost to Man City and Liverpool this season, and they are very much in the argument now to who can win this Premier League.
For me, we are not ready to be there.
He gives the ball to Mbeumo, who finishes it off for the third year in a row. Brentford have travelled the 4 short miles to Stamford Bridge and gone back with 3 points.
Their away form is absolutely disgusting. Haven't won a game, picked up 1 point.
I must say that I think our opponents away from home probably been a little
bit more difficult, but every game in the Premier League is difficult.
During that game, we'll have live updates from all the action in the early window in the NFL, with playoff implications leading to the Super Bowl in February, which we'll have live for you on the Talksport network. We also had the second day of the third test between England and New Zealand. Here's how it sounded.
Henry struck twice in an over and he's dismissed both England openers.
Oh, he's bowled him! Will O'Rourke's on a hat-trick. Now England are in a spot of bother. Rourke gone, he's got him caught in the gully. Tim Southey takes the catch. Joe Root's gone.
Big appeal for LBW, finger goes up. Ben Stokes has to leave, all out for 143. Are these two teams allergic to 5 days? Chopped on is Latham. Latham goes, bowled Atkinson for 19. The man sees it like a beach ball through binoculars. Second boundary to Williamson.
Lovely shot, and Young brings up another 50 for New Zealand. He's 51, 72 balls, 7 fours. Well done, Will Young.
Stokes, short, pulled away, hooked and caught. There is a breakthrough. Here is Stokes once again. Bowls to O'Rourke and he's gedged it. Caught behind by Ollie Pope, so Stokes has his man. Will O'Rourke's out for just the third time in the series. And it's 50 for the former New Zealand Test captain, Kane Williamson. Yet another one.
Live coverage of the third day of the third test will come your way tonight from 9:30. The sport doesn't stop there, as from tomorrow the PDC World Darts Championship makes its way to Talksport 2.
Brilliant 170 finish! What a fantastic leg from Michael van Gerwen!
The most important thing is you have to win. The will to win has to be there.
60 hit, number 2 in, double 15 to win the match. Happy New Year, Luke Littler!
So the dream continues because it's still on. Obviously, everyone thinks about winning the world.
The crowd will tell you everything. Luke Littler turns on the afterburners. There's another maximum from Humphries. It's like he's on another planet here.
It takes over in the UK is the thing that everyone wants to watch, wants to be at Christmas, and I think at Christmas it makes it special.
Humphries settles himself on double 8, just to the north of it. But Pinsey with the second dart. We have a new world champion, a new name on the Citadel Trophy, and that name is Luke Humphries of Newbury.
Live coverage of all the matchups starts tomorrow. For all things darts, come to Talksport.
Hard-hitting football coverage.
He hits it first time, what a volley, what a goal!
Pushing the apex of live football. EFL Live on Talksport 2.
Welcome back to Carrow Road, where we have live coverage of Norwich City against Burnley in the EFL Championship. Half-time here, Norwich lead by 1-0. The goal scored by Jose Cordoba after 2 minutes of play. Full-time at Vicarage Road, Watford 2, West Brom 1, the final score there. And it means that Watford have moved up to 7th in the Championship table, above West Brom by 2 points. They have a game in hand on West Brom and Middlesbrough, who are just ahead of them on goal difference, so they're only outside the top 6 on goal difference. Norwich, as it stands, if it stayed this way, there'd be 5 points off the playoffs. So Dean Ashton, who's alongside me here at Carrow Road, that doesn't look too bad after all, does it, if they were to win this game? 9th in the table, going into Christmas, where things can manoeuvre quite quickly with all these games that are coming up.
Yeah, it does feel a bit like, you know, can they hang in there almost while they have the injuries and the suspension to Kenny McLeod? Can they hang in there with those sorts of players missing? Obviously, Sargent, of course, missing for a while. If they can, there's no reason why in the second half of the season, if they can maybe do some business in January to help the manager and also get players back, why they can't have a real go. It's not been a crazy Championship League table so far, and we always see it every single season. It happens. Norwich have got to feel like they're one of the sides that is more than capable, with all players fit, of putting a run together.
You mentioned Josh Sargent there. That's a key absence. He's expected to be back in January, but he scores a lot of goals when he's playing. Should he's had injury troubles? Should they go out and buy another striker? I mean, this is no disrespect to Ashley Barnes, but he's not Josh Sargent. He's not a direct replacement for Josh Sargent.
I'm not sure whether the club is in the position, and the way the recruitment has certainly started under Napa that they're going to go out and just buy a striker. I'm not sure that is going to be the case. I think it will be more of a season of, if something happens, it's a massive bonus, but let's build towards the next season, the season after that, and building some actual proper foundations like they did under Farker to try and build a team that can get to the Premier League time and time again.
Yeah, it's been considered a transitional season, hasn't it, for Norwich City? What about Burnley, though, having been relegated from the Premier League? A bit like Norwich in a way. They're a bit yo-yo when it comes to Premier League and the Championship. It's so important to get back as quickly as possible, because as Norwich are finding out this season, they no longer get parachute payments.
No, and I think a bit like Sheffield United and Leeds, I think they have got the best squad in the division. And Scott Parker's got to utilise that. Again, he's similar. He'd love to have certain players back, Lyle Foster and a Redmond and players such as that, and Benson. I think that would massively help them. He's got to find a way to get a little bit more fluidity to his forward line. It's all a bit stiff at the moment, even though you have got exciting players like Anthony, like Sarmiento and like Koleosho. It still looks a bit stiff and pedestrian in the way they build through.
You might be able to hear in the background the faint sound of White Christmas being played by the Salvation Army Band here inside Carrow Road. It's everybody's just taking a moment to collect themselves ahead of the second half. The substitutes are out, keeping themselves warm. No sign of the starting players as yet. Even at this stage, we're 21 games into the season, so we're almost at the halfway stage. Are you confident enough to stick your neck out and say, I think so and so will be there? Like Leeds, for example, who should have gone up last season.
I think Leeds and Sheffield United, it does feel as if they've got an edge. It does, because they're both defensively sound and they've both got lots of firepower, I think, for this division. I'd be pretty surprised if both of those teams didn't go up. I don't mean automatically. It might be through the playoffs for one of them, but I would be surprised if they didn't. I just think they've got enough quality players, managers that know exactly what they're doing at this level, and I'm not seeing a huge amount of pressure coming from the other sides in the division.
And the fact that Scott Parker took Fulham up and Bournemouth up 2 seasons apart, I mean, he's got the pedigree to do it, and clearly he's got the pedigree as a player, knowing English football, both Premier League and Championship. I mean, that's got to be a bonus.
Yeah, if they can maintain the defensive stats, they'll be there at the end of the season, definitely in the playoffs. It's just if they can sort themselves out going forwards, then you're looking at top 2.
Well, they're at the moment being put through their paces to keep warm. Norwich are in the tunnel waiting to come out. I can tell you that we've got 2 exclusive Talksport commentaries to come later today. Both 7 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League. One is on Talksport, one is here on Talksport 2. The one on Talksport is from St Mary's, Southampton, against Spurs. Ian Danta and Scott Minto will be there. And at Stamford Bridge for Chelsea-Brentford, the West London derby, Joe Shannon and Stuart Pearce will be in attendance. Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock kickoff on the South Coast, Bournemouth against West Ham, a Talksport exclusive. The programme presented by Adrian Durham, commentary from Sam Matterface and the former England midfielder Danny Murphy, as we see Norwich make their way back onto the field along with referee Andy Madley. So play will resume shortly. I'll run through the 2 lineups. There don't appear to be any substitutions made at the start of the second half. There has been one made by Burnley because of injury, but 3 changes made by each team ahead of today. Norwich have Angus Gunn in goal. They've got Fisher, Duffy, Cordoba and Doyle at the back. Nunez, Slimani and Marcondes in midfield. Schwartau, Sinats and Sainz in attack. As for Burnley, Trafford in goal, then it's Egan Riley, Humphreys, it's now Egan instead of Esteve, who went off injured, and Pires at the back. Midfield of Anthony, Brownhill and Cullen. Koleosho, Rodriguez and Sarmiento are the front 3. And it's Norwich who've got the second half underway. They're going to attack the Barclay end away to the left in the second half, which is always their preference. and they have that one goal advantage given to them by the man on the ball now, Jose Cordoba. Norwich in yellow and green, as you might expect here at Carrow Road. Burnley have also been decked out in their claret and blue, and Norwich come forward just outside the penalty area towards this near side, the left. Doyle unable to keep possession, but he then slides in and completely upends Jeremy Sarmiento. It was an awkward landing by Sarmiento, and Andy Madley went straight for his notebook, and it's the first yellow card of the game. And Sarmiento, he doesn't look too good. The players look very concerned. The physios are straight onto the field. Even Scott Parker is coming onto the field as well. I don't know whether it's more a concern. It's probably a concern mainly for Sarmiento, and I think it is. And Parker's just asking all the players to just move away so the physios and the doctors and the other medical staff can get onto the field to look at Sarmiento. I mean, Doyle threw himself in there. We're getting a replay of it now. The ball was loose. Doyle got a toe to the ball, but his body went through Sarmiento.
It's the way he lands. I think that's the big issue for Sarmiento. Obviously, Doyle goes sliding in, goes through the back of Sarmiento's legs and just upends him. He then flips over and lands sort of right between his shoulder blades, almost. So you've obviously then worrying about the spine and the neck, which is the clear worry, I think, for the medical staff.
You can sense there's an air of concern around the stadium as well. It's quietened here at Carrow Road. We were only a minute or so into the second half when it happened. Just to say that there's an attendance of 26,218 here today. 630 have made the long trip from Lancashire, and certainly by the looks of things, it doesn't seem as if Sarmiento is going to be able to continue, and there's movement on the Burnley bench in the meantime. Let's just hope Sarmiento is okay. He's sitting up now, which is good, and the warm applause coming from every side and every corner of Carrow Road. Borja Sainz is right there just to make sure he's okay. The Ecuador international, born in Spain, on loan from Brighton.
Yeah, he might have just sort of hit his head as well as he fell backwards onto the floor, and that's what they were worried about.
He looks a bit dazed and confused, but he is walking back towards the dugout. He's obviously been severely winded, and the medical staff clearly want to make sure he's okay before they let him continue. These kind of injuries now, they have to be incredibly cautious.
Yeah, it's the right thing to take him off. He probably doesn't feel like he wants to, because he maybe didn't realise he was in the state he was.
Well, the fact that he's so frustrated is a good thing in a way, because he knows what's going on, and he seems okay in that sense. But they're taking the precautionary approach. I think he's even discussing with Scott Parker and the medical officials, why can't I go back on? So it's good news in a way. He's up and he's walking and he seems to be okay, but he is going to be replaced by Josh Laurent. So Burnley, who had to make a change early in the first half for the injury to Maxime Esteve, have now had to make a change at the start of the second half and have replaced the former Ipswich player Jeremy Sarmiento with Josh Laurent, who started life in Chelsea's youth system. Play will continue. It's a really worrying moment, that.
Yeah,
happened very quickly.
It's not very nice, is it, to see? Luckily, the medical staff were on very quickly and dealt with it in a very composed manner.
And at the moment, Sarmiento's just sat on the Burnley bench. So all things seem good. Let's hope that there's no lasting impact to that injury. So a slightly muted start to the second half as Burnley now come forward. It's lofted over the top for the substitute Laurent, who heads it to the edge of the penalty area. Anthony plays it back to him. Laurent gets a shot in, which is deflected over by Shane Duffy. Well, that would have been something of an impact from the substitute.
Oh, it should have been. Bouncing ball, he wins the header towards Anthony. Anthony then just plays a clever pass down the side of Cordoba, and there was Laurent to take the strike on. I've got no idea why he takes 2 extra steps before he shoots. He could just hit it straight away and not allow Duffy to get the block in, but he lets him.
He's not scored for Burnley, Josh Laurent. He nearly did then. The corner's been wasted. It's hit way deep across field and out to the far side for a Norwich City throw-in. They lead through that Jose Cordoba goal scored right at the start of the first half. This is live commentary from the EFL Championship at Carrow Road in Norwich, where now darkness has descended in Norfolk. And it's myself, Mike Sewell, and Dean Ashton bringing you this coverage. We have Chelsea-Brentford to come from the Premier League on Talksport 2 with a 7 o'clock kickoff. Gunn, away to our right, in front of the river end at Carrow Road. Fisher into midfield where Marcondes loses out. Koleosho has it for Burnley. Cullen back to Luca Koleosho, and then into the Burnley half for the other substitute, John Egan. Burnley work it well towards this near side. Space for Humphreys, and now Anthony taking on Doyle to the edge of the penalty area. Across comes Nunez to cover, and it's a throw-in to Burnley. Obviously there's a lot of anticipation and excitement when teams come out for the second half, but because of that injury to Sarmiento, it kind of softened everything, and it's all
and I think also the way Norwich are playing doesn't lend itself to lift this Norwich City crowd. You know, they're allowing Burnley possession, easy possession, Burnley being neat and tidy without really being dangerous. Norwich happy just to sit there really and defend their half.
Confirmation earlier, Watford beat West Brom 2-1 to move up to 7th in the Championship table, above the Baggies, and only outside the playoff places on goal difference from Middlesbrough. So it's been a good weekend for the majority of the teams in that top part of the table. As it stands, Leeds and Burnley currently are the only teams that have not won. But Burnley have another 45 minutes or so to do, and that ball is threaded through by Slimani to Sinats. I don't know whether he heard the whistle, but he kept on going. He's put the ball in the net, and he's going to get a cautionary word, if not a yellow card. And I think the sound of the groans from the Norwich fans tell you everything you need to know. Ante Sinats has now got a yellow.
Well, I mean, it was either pretty obvious because of the 3 whistles that the referee blew, and then it must be doubly obvious when the defender completely stops, lets you run through, the keeper's got his hands up and is not interested in saving it, before you then put it in the net. So,
and it's trebly obvious because the crowd were quiet.
Oh, well,
don't you think they'd have been a bit more excited?
I know, he just wanted to put the ball in the net, didn't he? Childish we are, childish as forward.
That's what it's all about. Never miss an opportunity. No. Dean Ashton alongside me here. Norwich leading, but Burnley coming forward, or at least trying to. Brownhill to Anthony, who comes right into centre field and is almost moving out to the left now. Midway inside Norwich territory. Lucas Pires down the line, nice touch from Koleosho. Good first and second touch. Second time he was brought down, and Burnley have a free kick out wide on the left, deep inside the Norwich half. Norwich questioning whether it should have been a free kick.
We need to see more of that from Koleosho. Such a terrific player, but I think too often he lets the full-back off. He just, every time he gets it, if I was him, I'd be looking to take the full-back on, to combine and get him behind. He's got so much pace to burn. Use it.
Koleosho is a big advantage. He can play for 4 different countries if he wants. He's currently an Italy under-21 international. He could play for the USA, Canada, Nigeria or Italy because of his parents and his ancestry. At the moment he's opted for Italy, and his team have this free kick over on the far side, almost in line with the edge of the penalty area. It's been left for Anthony to drive it in low, and it's headed out to the edge of the area on this near side, the Burnley right. Back by Cullen, swung in by Brownhill, headed out towards Brownhill. Nunez gets there first and launches it down this near side, and Sainz has got the afterburners on, but he's not going to get there. And he thumps the hoarding, which is an electronic scoreboard. I don't think that's gone down very well with the company that that run that. He may well have taken a few bulbs out of there.
Probably not. I'm sure he can afford to replace them.
Norwich fans getting behind their team, leading by the only goal, a narrow margin against Burnley, who want to go up to third in the Championship table, but they need a win to do that. They have it with Rodriguez on the halfway line, prodded through. Koleosho completely free on the left here. Across goes Fisher. Koleosho cuts in and shoots, but it's straight at Angus Gunn.
It was a really good play from Burnley, in towards Rodriguez, flicked in towards Lauren, across to Koleosho, 1v1, cuts inside on his right foot. You're thinking, go on, hit it into that far corner or arrow it into the near. He does neither and just hits it straight at Angus Gunn. He could have reversed it as well to Lucas Perez, but I quite like the idea of him taking that on. It just was a poor execution.
11 minutes of the second half played. Still Norwich lead. We had a fairly lengthy delay after Sarmiento's injury and then subsequent substitution. So there'll be a few minutes added on at the end. As Cordoba tries to head it back to Gunn. It's short, and Brownhill almost manages to get a foot on it ahead of Angus Gunn, who had to come right to the edge of his penalty area.
Just silly, wasn't it, from Cordoba? Okay, maybe the right idea just to head it back to your goalkeeper, but he misses it with his head and it hits his back and just lands, cushions in front of the goalkeeper. Cordoba actually does well just to get his body across Brownhill, or else he might have been able to push it past Gunn.
And then it's a long ball forward by the Panamanian, which is into no man's land, really. Norwich certainly haven't got going in this second half.
No, but they've not even tried. They're happy to sit there. They're almost saying, we don't believe you can break us down. You haven't got the attacking ability to break us down. But then they need to do more on the break. If Norwich, if they are going to sit there, they need to be better in possession themselves.
Burnley have it over on the far side. Down the line it goes. Lucas Perez heading towards the dead ball line. Good sliding challenge from Fisher. The ball has actually stayed in play and it's been won back by Rodriguez. 35-year-old prods it infield to Koleosho. Now it's into centre field. Brownhill clips it over the top for Burnley. Oh, that's a good first touch by Laurent. Doesn't get a chance to shoot, and then as he's falling, he puts out his right leg and gets warm applause from his head coach, Scott Parker. But he's made a bit of an impact since he's come on. And it wasn't an intended substitution.
No, but he's already looked more dangerous, hasn't he, than Sarmiento did in the first half. He's a little lucky, doesn't fall for him when that initial clever, creative ball from Brownhill was just clipped over the top. He chested it down, and then it just ricocheted off Duffy and then off Laurent, so he couldn't quite strike it, and then he ended up poking it harmlessly wide.
Norwich knocking the ball around quite calmly inside their penalty area, but Burnley are pressing them and they've won it back. Here is Laurent in the box on the left, laid up by Cullen to the left side now. Rodriguez, Koleosho infield, 25 yards out. Now we're in the centre with Brownhill. Burnley playing well at the moment, having a good spell, but they've given it straight to Oscar Schwartau, who comes forward down the right. He's got no options really, and he speculatively plays it forward, hoping that Sinat can get there, but he's the only man anywhere near James Trafford, and Burnley can calmly get this ball away themselves with their goalkeeper. He's hit it straight to Doyle. Doyle's then played a loose ball. Thankfully Nunez has got it, and then Slimani's touch is heavy and he's committed a foul, and we have a free kick inside the centre circle.
Yeah, it's interesting with Norwich, and you think of the new manager, Johannes Hoff Torup, and what he achieved with his previous club, Nordsjælland. And one of the interesting things of the way his team played before he came here was that they were top in Denmark for possession won in the final third. This season in the Championship, they're 21st for that stat. He doesn't trust this Norwich team to go and press from the front.
It's a good cross from the right by Anthony. Norwich deal with it scruffily, into touch by Schwartau on the far side.
And it just goes back to what you just mentioned there about Cernat, just running, making the effort, but totally on his own. He's not allowing this Norwich team to go and press high up to win the ball back. Maybe that is something that he'll want over time, considering the stats from his previous club. But at the moment, happy to sit in, happy to be deep, even though they're at home, and just try and frustrate Burnley. Although you're almost waiting really for Burnley to create a chance to score rather than going and getting the second.
An hour played. Norwich have it, leading by a goal to nil. Here's Doyle from the left, all the way across. Slimani brings it down. That looked like handball. It's been laid off. Schwartau's cross is cut out at the near post by Lucas Pires. Norwich City have a corner kick.
Well, Doyle just spotted a brilliant pass, and there was 3 or 4 players running forwards of him. He just reversed it just outside the area towards Slimani, laid it off towards Schwartau. He did the right thing, trying to find the run of Marcondes. It was a good outstretched leg of Egan Riley just to put it behind.
Corner kick to be taken by Nunez, who's planting the ball inside the quadrant. 1 or 2 substitutes warm up on this near side. There's not much room for the number of players that are there. Some of them are straying onto the pitch as Nunez delivers the corner, out swinging towards the penalty spot, headed in, saved by Trafford, sent back in by Slimani. Trafford again has to punch, not once but twice. Signs volleys, and it strikes somebody and goes out. Some of the Norwich fans behind the goal are claiming a penalty.
Well, I don't know why they're asking for handball, because it was Trafford that made the final save as well. Great save from the initial header from the first corner that came in from Trafford. He then punches twice, and then it comes out towards Sainz, who volleys towards goal, and Trafford's there again.
It was Callum Doyle with the first header. Slimani's sort of looping ball was punched away, and then he did make that save from Sainz.
Yeah, I think they're asking for handball because behind him, John Egan dives like a goalkeeper, but actually doesn't touch it because Trafford's there just in front of him, who dives at exactly the same time.
Is that a triple save or a double save? It's triple, I suppose.
I don't.
Well, double save.
Double save with 3 punches in the middle.
Good work though by James Trafford to keep Norwich from scoring a second goal, and to keep any team from scoring a second goal in the Championship this season, because he's not conceded more than 1 goal in a league game.
Well, it gives him a chance. Gives him still a chance in this game at 1-0. Just wonder whether, at what point Scott Parker... Oh, actually he is now.
Yeah, 2 players are preparing to come on. Zian Fleming, the Dutchman, and Hannibal Mebri are both preparing to come on for Burnley. They've already made 2 substitutions. Norwich have not done anything yet from the bench.
See, I could have been clever there, couldn't I, and said he should bring on so and so and so and so.
And then I'd say a minute later.
I've just shown I actually wasn't looking. And fair play, Scott Parker's already done it.
You're listening to the voice of psychic Dean Ashton on Talksport 2, where it's Norwich City 1, Burnley 0. And Burnley are going to make these substitutions. First, though, Scott Parker wants a word with Jayden Anthony before those substitutions are made. Just a reminder, Watford beat West Brom 2-1 to move up to 7th in the Championship table. Jay Rodriguez is going to make way for Zian Fleming, the player he came in for in the starting 11. Fleming on loan from fellow Championship side Millwall. He was a Ajax youth player. And the other change is seeing the departure of Lucas Pires to be replaced by Hannibal. So that's 4 changes made by Parker after 64 minutes of this game. 2 significant stories today in terms of managerial departures. Des Buckingham has left Oxford United, who are struggling in the Championship. He's only been in charge for 13 months. And Gary O'Neill, who used to play for Norwich here at Carrow Road, has been sacked by Wolves after their 2-1 defeat at home to Ipswich yesterday. Sainz down the left for Norwich, heading towards the dead ball line, then coming back to Doyle, midway inside the Burnley half. This is the Norwich left in front of where we're sitting. Nunez towards Doyle. Norwich not retaining the ball very well at all, and in the end there's a tug on the shirt of Fleming by Cordoba, and referee Madley wants the ball taken back. Johannes Hoftorup signals that he thought it was a throw-in.
Still no substitution from Norwich City. Happy with the way his team are set up defensively, been reasonably sound.
We've had 20 minutes of the second half. Burnley have been the better team since the break, but Norwich have actually had the better chance, or chances if you include it as that double save from James Trafford. Burnley have it now though. Koleosho to the left side, on the far side as we look. And it was Jadon Anthony was trying to get in, and it actually came off his foot, out for a Norwich City goal kick. Discussions between Torup and his assistant Glenn Riddersholm, probably about what they're going to do in terms of substitutions. How do they counter what Burnley have done or improve their own situation?
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, obviously they've got Ashley Barnes, former Burnley player, on the bench to maybe hold it up when they're trying to get out, and then you've got the pace of Hernandez. Forson as well is another player that could come in to give them something a little bit more on the break is what they need if they're going to sit there and defend.
Burnley enjoying the possession again, sent in by Hannibal. It's very deep. Koleosho might be able to get there. Instead it's Fisher who hooks it down the line for Norwich. That's the far side of the field from where we are. Here's Anthony again, yard in from the touchline, trying to trick his way beyond two Norwich players. In the end, Kellen Fisher, a bit like Indiana Jones, you know, when he just got his gun out instead of the whip, he just hammers the ball into touch. So I'm not hanging around with this.
No, he's aggressive, isn't he, Fisher, when he wants to be.
Fleming tries to turn, he's brought down again. Slimani, the offender. It's a free kick inside the Norwich half. Norwich have just not got going at all, and they are running the risk of Burnley getting themselves back in this game with a goal. One or two Norwich players go to warm up, including Cade Gordon on loan from Liverpool. Jack Stacey is down there, formerly of Bournemouth. Free kick taken. Oh, it's Fleming from distance. Oh my goodness me, what a goal by Zian Fleming. He absolutely hammers it into the top corner of the Norwich net. The free kick was taken quickly. Norwich were just like statues around their own penalty area, and Fleming unleashed a rocket into the back of the Norwich net. The goal has come. It's Norwich 1, Burnley 1.
I mean, how naive can you be from a Norwich City perspective? Why else, near the halfway line, would Fleming be anywhere near the free kick? Why else? Simply because he wants to shoot. Cullen just taps it towards him and he hits a fantastic strike from Fleming. He just hits right across it and up on it, so he's got the dip and the swerve to go with it. Flashes past Angus Gunn. It's a terrific strike from Zian Fleming.
It's a 30-yard strike from the centre of the field with that curve, outward curve, beyond the reach of Angus Gunn. But what on earth were the Norwich players doing? Nobody closed him down.
And nobody clocked it. It's why else would Fleming be there? It's so far out. It's not near the area. Why else would he be there? He's not going to take the free kick. It's obvious what, in his mind, he wanted to do. Norwich allowed him to do it, but didn't he do it brilliantly?
Literally just come off the bench. And Scott Parker will now feel we can win this. And they are in the ascendancy. Norwich's early goal cancelled out.
It is their own fault, Norwich. You've got to say. I mean, they've come out and they've been just really passive in this second half. They've almost been waiting for Burnley to score.
They have a throw-in on the near side, which Borja Sainz wants to take quickly. Goes back down the line to Jose Cordoba, and then Gunn, who had no chance with the shot. It was a superb strike.
Brilliant. Yeah, fantastic. The technique was absolutely perfect. It was Sainz-esque. Maybe he turned around to Sainz and said, "See, I can do it too."
That is a Christmas cracker. Sainz on the ball now for Norwich, midway inside the Burnley half, heading up to the penalty area, away to the left. Sinats tried to backheel it back into Sainz's path, but he couldn't succeed. And then Norwich come again from the halfway line with Cordoba. It's woken up the Norwich fans, and now Fisher sends it to the near side. Doyle brings it down. Cross to Nunez. Burnley have drawn 8 of their 20 games prior to today. in the Championship. Norwich haven't lost at home. Well, they've only lost once at home in the last 13 months. But we, at the moment, we have a stalemate. Can anyone break that stalemate in the next 20 minutes or so? 70 played. Thrown down the line by Doyle into the penalty area. Sienats on this near side by the edge of the box has got Egan for company. He holds it up. Good tackle by Humphreys. Throw in. Norwich fans there weren't happy with the challenge. It looked pretty clean to me.
No, I thought it was excellent. Excellent challenge from Humphreys. Obviously Callum Doyle just looking like he had a bit of cramp.
He's going to take the throw in, just a few yards short of the corner flag. Down to our left. He's waiting for the run of Nunez to the dead ball line. Hooks the ball back in. Doesn't reach Sienats because a Burnley player gets it away, and then Koleosho helps it up towards the halfway line. Duffy towers above Laurent to head it away, and now Schwartau down the far side. Brilliant piece of footwork from the Dane. Terrific drag back.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
completely sold the Burnley player.
Yeah, fantastic to just pull it in behind the defender with the back of his heel.
Norwich have it back now. Centre field, 30 yards out. Not a shooting position though, because Nunez is forced to go back to Duffy. Duffy then gets the olays from the Norwich fans after getting the better of Fleming. Now Burnley. Good work by Sainz. One back by Humphreys. It's toing and froing at the moment as Sainz goes in on Hannibal. Well, actually, Nunez goes in on Hannibal. And now there's a little bit of a few frayed tempers there, both on the Norwich and the Burnley benches. It's not come to much. Onel Hernandez and Jack Stacey are getting prepared to come on for Norwich, as Schwartau is fouled off the ball by Laurent, I think it was, and Norwich have a free kick, and they're still trying to give instructions to Onel Hernandez. Let me just remind you that we have two commentaries later today, both 7 o'clock kickoffs. It's very hard for me to say 7 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League. Talksport exclusive, Southampton against Spurs, and on Talksport 2, here on Talksport 2, Chelsea Brentford. Here it's 1-1. Forward to Marcondes into the area, heads it down towards Sienats. Egan clears it away for Burnley. Hooked down the line by the visitors. This game is there for the taking, Dean.
Oh, it's really opened up, hasn't it, since that Burnley goal?
And they're coming forward now. That's a brilliant sliding challenge by the man we said was very brave, Kellen Fisher. Puts the ball out of play with Koleosho looking like he was going to sprint beyond him. Here come the substitutions. Stacey is going to replace Oscar Schwartau. Schwartau actually coming in the team. Stacey dropping out before the start of play. And the other change, Ante Sienats has come off. He's not seen a huge amount of the ball, Sienats, playing in the central striking role. And the cult figure, you could say, here at Carrow Road, Onel Hernandez is coming on. He's hugely popular with the fans. He's a very likeable guy. And he's now in his 8th year at Carrow Road.
And number 25, Onel Hernandez.
Yeah, I just wonder how that'll sort of... I mean, Stacey will go and play on the right. I thought Sainz might play through the middle. He hasn't. It is Onel Hernandez that will, and Sainz will stay on the left.
Burnley have the ball, though, on the halfway line. We have 16 minutes plus stoppage time here on Talksport 2, live from Carrow Road, where it's Norwich 1, Burnley 1. Cordoba with an early goal for Norwich. Fleming with an absolute worldie for Burnley a short time ago, literally within a couple of minutes of coming off the bench. Well worth a watch, that goal. And it's got to be a contender for goal of the month. They might win it.
Great strike.
Outright. Here is Anthony, twisting his way beyond a couple of Norwich players into centre field. Cullen attempted to play it through for Brownhill, but it didn't get there, and now Sainz is on the charge for Norwich. Blocked by Cullen, and now it's with Hannibal. And Humphreys, space for Cullen to look up. 3-4 players ahead of him. To the right it goes, near side as we look. Heading away to our right, towards the Norwich area. Sent in by Hannibal, brought down by Anthony. It's going to fall for Brownhill, and he's found the far corner. Burnley's leading goal scorer, their captain, and potentially their match winner. Josh Brownhill has popped up to score his 7th league goal of the season. James Trafford heads to the bench to high-five his coaching staff and teammates. The 630 Burnley fans are jubilant because it's Norwich 1, Burnley 2.
Yeah, they just stepped off too far, didn't they, Norwich? They allowed Hannibal Medri to get his head up and play that cross in. Jaden Anthony, who is actually playing left back, but has made his way into the penalty area, takes a brilliant first touch with the inside of his right foot, flicks it up. Fisher then comes in to head away, but he heads it straight to Brownhill, who had backed up the play. And this is why he's the top scorer for Burnley. He shows proper composure. It bounces, he just chests it down to himself, and then half volleys in one move across Angus Gunn into that far left corner. Brilliant strike, brilliant composure from Brownhill.
Well, that's an early birthday present for Josh Brownhill. He'll turn 29 on Thursday. But his team at the moment are going third in the Championship as it stands. Norwich have some work to do, but Burnley very much on top. They've got a grip on the game.
Yeah, they have. They've been excellent in this second half. They haven't panicked, but they've sustained a good amount of pressure. I really like the way Brownhill took that goal. It's so easy to let that bounce a couple of times and it slows things up. He didn't. He attacked the ball as it bounced, took a tiny little chest to himself and then hit it on the half volley straight away, all in one movement to make sure that Angus Gunn just couldn't react.
Burnley have it in defence. Hernandez is closing down on Trafford, and it's thumped away by the goalkeeper into the Norwich half. Cordoba back, Cullen in there, and then hooked back towards the Burnley goal by Marcondes. But one thing Norwich don't seem to be able to do is construct a fluid move.
No, they've struggled in this second half to find any rhythm at all.
I have to say Burnley have been really good in this second half. The way they've approached the game, the way they played the game. I guess it's a hallmark of Scott Parker, isn't it? Although, just as well, nearly commentator's curse. I thought a Burnley player had inadvertently put it out for a corner, but Andy Madley says it came off a Norwich City player. I think it was Bashir Humphreys who played it back, and he's got away with that one. The Norwich fans aren't in agreement with Andy Madley, as you can imagine. Norwich 1, Burnley 2, 12 minutes of normal time to go. We'll have a fair bit of added time. We had a long stoppage right at the start of the second half when Jeremy Sarmiento needed some urgent treatment. He's fine now, but there was a few-minute delay. Now it's Brownhill who got the second goal, charging down the right, being followed by Doyle. Back it goes to Hannibal. Brownhill now by the touchline on the near side, but they're deep inside the Norwich half. Hannibal outside the penalty area, goes back to Cullen, infield. And now the urgency has been passed on from Burnley to Norwich.
And Burnley now are trying to just calmly keep possession. There isn't the urgency from them now. In the driving seat, they'll just want to keep good possession, which they've been very good at all season. Will Norwich go and press high? They're not at the moment.
This is the second of two Championship games taking place today. Watford have already beaten West Brom by 2-1 to move up to 7th in the table. Burnley are third as it stands, just a point behind Leeds in second and 4 behind the leaders Sheffield United, who they play on Boxing Day. Between that, they've got to play Watford next Saturday at home. Norwich are away at Sunderland. That's a tough game and a long trip for them. And they are going to stay in 12th place, 8 points adrift of the top 6. Inconsistency has been their consistency this season, if you see what I mean. Consistently inconsistent.
Yeah.
There's no more movement off the Norwich. Well, there is actually. I can just see. Is it Cade Gordon who might be coming on?
I mean, you can really feel the loss of Sargent, can't you? That focal point at the top end of the pitch.
And it's not just his goals as well, is it?
No, it's his work rate, it's his hold-up play. It's all improved over the last couple of seasons here at Norwich, and they do miss him. I wonder whether, like you said, they might try and look for an alternative, at least in January, because Sir Nats has worked hard without looking like the player that could play that role, and Hernandez definitely isn't a centre forward.
Cade Gordon is coming on, and also about to come on is someone that Burnley know very well. Ashley Barnes is about to face his former club. He's held in very high regard by those at Burnley, the staff and the fans. He will get a good reception when he comes on, no doubt. But at the moment, Norwich have the ball, and it's just all a bit too soft and casual until Slimani tries to use his strength but loses out to Laurent. And Burnley are just controlling things. They're in the driving seat. They have the steering wheel in their control. Down the right goes Humphreys on the near side. Tries to get beyond Doyle, and then Marcondes helps him out. But they're still stuck in that corner until Cordoba gets to the line, and then it's played forward by Nunez to Marcondes. That goal from Cordoba after a minute seems such a long time ago now.
Yeah.
Fisher runs into the Burnley half, socks rolled down, looking like he's got plenty of purpose. The whole team needs to have some, because that's a stray, uncharacteristic long ball from Marcelino Nunez, which is cut out by Bashir Humphreys, and then Sainz can't keep it in. The double substitution from Norwich, is it going to come before the throw-in or not? I think it might do. Johannes Hoff-Torp is in discussion with Cade Gordon. 8 minutes plus stoppage time to go. Burnley lead. Coming up at 7 o'clock, Southampton against Spurs on Talksport. It's an exclusive commentary with Ian Danter and Scott Minto. At the same time, here on Talksport 2, another Premier League commentary, not on UK television. It's an exclusive. Joe Shannon and Stuart Pearce are your commentary team for that game. And don't forget, tomorrow night, Bournemouth West Ham in the Premier League, 8 o'clock kickoff. Again, it's an exclusive, another one. Presented by Adrian Durham, commentary from Sam Matterface and Danny Murphy. Here at Carrow Road, it's myself, Mike Sewell, and Dean Ashton bringing you the closing stages of Norwich 1, Burnley 2. Ashley Barnes, who spent 9 years at Turf Moor, is on, along with Cade Gordon. Burnley have it, though, on the far side of the field, with Koleosho, nice footwork to come back away from Nunez, switches the play to this near side, the right, where Hannibal is waiting. Fleming, the scorer of the first Burnley goal, from the right side, a few yards short of the byline. Hannibal trying to get the better of two Norwich defenders, doesn't succeed, then goes down clutching his face. Nobody seems at all interested in him. He gets to his feet and Norwich try to come forward. But other than that incident where Trafford had to make the double save, Norwich haven't looked like scoring, and Burnley have robbed them of the ball again. Down the left, Laurent, another of the substitutes, at the angle of the penalty area on the left. Down the line for Koleosho, has to work really hard to keep it in his possession, and he's won a throw-in.
Yeah, Norwich just struggling to get out, really, and Burnley have done well out of possession. I think they've done well out of possession all game, actually. They've not really allowed Norwich to play out the way they want to play out. They've really pressurised Nunez when the ball goes into him, so he then has to go back to a centre-back rather than being able to turn and play.
Ben Cresceni is also preparing to come on for Norwich as this throw-in is taken. It's going to go the other way to Norwich now. Time ticking away for the home team. Burnley on the brink of 8 games unbeaten. Norwich about to lose at home for only the second time in the last 13 months. And it's another team that begins with B, because the last team was Bristol City and the last team prior to that was Blackburn. Doyle with the throw back to Cordoba, whose goal may mean nothing in the end. He's having to defend here. Norwich have been very, very loose with their passing and wasteful in the second half.
There's also not been the urgency to their play. It's all been pretty slow, playing out from the back into midfield.
There's no dynamism.
No, not been able to get the ball wide, have they, very often, to Sainz. He's hardly been involved.
Even then, the ball from Stacey goes backwards and it almost gets picked off by Burnley. The fans, you can sense, are getting frustrated here. Burnley just got maybe 8-9 minutes, possibly more, to hold out. Not that they're in a position of holding out as such. They've been the better team in the second half. But Duffy is striding forward, trying to take responsibility. Gordon to the right edge of the area. Stacey gets a low cross in, takes a deflection off a defender. It's Laurent, and it's gone out for a corner. Borka Sainz wants the ball off Trafford, and he shoulder barges the goalkeeper over. And now Burnley are complaining. They're not happy with Sainz. He just wanted the ball. Trafford didn't seem that bothered by it.
No, and Trafford was just being silly, basically.
It was pantomime, wasn't it?
It was. It is the season. I mean, I don't know why Sainz and Trafford are getting yellow carded for that. It was nothing. The referee doesn't need to do that.
So a yellow card apiece for those two, Sainz and Hannibal. And now the corner, which Nunez will take. Right-footed, outswinger towards the penalty spot again. Doyle's up there, but it doesn't get above the ball despite his height, and it just comes off his head and out of play. And now Cresceni can come on in place of Doyle. Straight swap at left back.
Yeah, well, Doyle was struggling a little bit with cramp earlier, so it doesn't surprise me hugely.
A cheer has gone up around Carrow Road because the PA announcer said that Riverside Road, I mentioned earlier that they'd found an unexploded bomb in the river, which is no more than a couple of miles downriver from where we are, and they had to close off the area. It's now reopened. I'm not sure if they've done a controlled explosion or whether they found that it's just gone off in the past. I don't know.
No, not sure.
But a lot of these fans
I'll find out with a local paper and a cup of tea in the morning.
A lot of these fans will be relieved if they live that side of the city. But they're not going to be very happy with what's happened here because their team are 2-1 down with 2.5 minutes of normal time remaining, and the opposition have the ball. Burnley on the brink of going into the top 3 in the Championship.
Yeah, it feels important, didn't it, at the start of this game from a Burnley perspective, knowing those other teams had won yesterday, to be able to come from behind in this game, and if they get the 3 points, that'll feel pretty big, and another confidence boost for them.
Back it goes to Gunn. Norwich have got to get the ball forward here. Johannes Hoff-Torp is pacing up and down his technical area, anxious, pensive, frustrated probably in the way this team have played in the second half because they've lost possession again. But no free kick given after Hannibal goes down, and the ball eventually finds Cresceni. He's been fouled by Laurent, and they will get a free kick. It's about 35 yards out, dead central. Now, at the other end, from that position, Burnley equalised, but Norwich backed off as Fleming came forward and lashed it in from 30 yards. I don't think they're going to allow Norwich to do the same thing. Is it shootable distance? It's right in line with where we're sitting.
Oh, it is for Nunez. He's got the capabilities. I remember him scoring a couple of these from distance for Norwich City.
We're into the final minute of the 90. Norwich need a goal if they're going to get anything out of this game. They trail 2-1. Marcondes is going to leave it, and Nunez steps forward, and he does strike it towards goal. And even though it's a clean hit, it's way over the crossbar.
Yeah, it was struck well, but he didn't get the dip. He's looking for the knuckleball dip from that type of free kick, Nunez. He just didn't get it. It just went straight up in the air.
There are 2 balls on the pitch at the moment, on both corners of the 6-yard area. I'm not quite sure how that's happened, but James Trafford has just disposed of one of them and won't be in a huge hurry to take the goal kick. He pats the goalpost with the base of his football boots, and then right-footed hits it high into the Norwich half. Down goes Hannibal, then Marcondes. The second one was a blatant push by Zian Fleming. And now we are in added time. There are going to be 6 minutes of additional time. I'm not sure if the Norwich fans were expecting more, but again, groans around Carrow Road. Scott Park will be happy it's no longer. His team on the brink of another 3 points and on the brink of the top 3, moving to within a point of the automatic promotion places. Marcondes midway inside the Burnley half, across to Cordoba, back this way to the left to find Nunez. Oh, it's short. Crescenti's not going to get there. Put into touch by Brownhill. His goal looks like winning it for Burnley.
Yeah, they've got to try and get it wide. You've got to get it to the likes of Sainz and Gordon, who's come on. He hasn't touched it yet. Burnley nice and narrow in a compact shape. Got to get the ball wide.
Norwich have it. Sorry, Dean.
No, you've got Ashley Barnes on as well now, so when you do get it wide, you can just put a delivery in there. More than capable of getting on the end of it and heading one in.
He was making a run just then that nobody spotted. Now Duffy over the top, inviting the run of Gordon on the far side. The ball holds up as it bounces just outside the penalty area and then cleared upfield by Anthony. There's a foul by Cordoba, an unnecessary foul on Zian Fleming that wastes more time for his own team. And then Burnley are going to try and take the sting out of everything by making another substitution in the dying minutes of this game. They're going to bring on Joe Worrell, former Nottingham Forest player. He's going to replace Luca Koleosho, as you'd imagine, in no hurry to get off the field. Burnley fans giving him warm applause as he leaves the field to be replaced by Worrell. Burnley have a free kick just short of the halfway line, leading by 2-1 on the brink of winning. Another 4 minutes or so.
Yeah, it's a smart move, you would say. Scott Parker get an extra centre back on, because Barnes is now up there as a threat in the penalty area. Don't need Koleosho. He's shown flashes of what he's capable of. Still think he's got more to give.
Free kick's been taken. Shane Duffy went up to head it away and it just skimmed off his head and behind him for a corner. So Norwich are just wasting their own time really at the moment, not giving themselves an opportunity to try and get back in this game with the time running out. Burnley have this corner. Very little urgency on their part. They aren't even putting anybody in the penalty area for the corner. There's literally Laurent's the only player inside the penalty area because they're going to try and hold it in the corner. And then there's a challenge from Nunez and a free kick awarded Norwich's way. Quick throw in back to Angus Gunn. Norwich have to work it from the left centre-back position. Cordoba to the left-back position. Crescenti up to the halfway line. Barnes fouled by Cullen. Quickly taken again. Another couple of minutes remaining on Talksport 2, where at 7 o'clock we'll have commentary of Chelsea-Brentford from Stamford Bridge. Talksport 2 exclusive. You won't find it on UK TV. At the same time on Talksport, Southampton-Tottenham from St Mary's. Both live commentaries. We're in the dying moments of this game. Norwich wanted a free kick for a foul on, or what they thought was a foul on Marcondes. It's been cleared into touch inside the Norwich half, and Stacey immediately throws it back to Gunn. He'll try and launch it forward again. Johannes Hoff-Torp urging all his outfield players just to get forward now. They've got to throw everything at it. Duffy is playing up front. He's actually the furthest forward of anyone. They're sacrificing his defensively to put him up top, and he's gone down under a challenge. No free kick, but it's fallen to Gordon towards the right side now. Here's Hernandez round the outside, chipped into the penalty area. Marcondes won't get there. Here's Cordoba from the left edge of the area, back into the back post. Oh, down goes Marcondes under pressure from Cullen. No penalty. Hernandez in the area. Down the right side, clips it in again. Trafford claws it away. And then there's claims of handball against Humphreys. Barnes has got his arms outstretched. Some of the Norwich players are off the bench to dispute it with the fourth official. Remember, we don't have a video assistant referee in the Championship. Norwich still have it though, out on the far side, curled into the near post, not been cleared. Marcondes right across the face of the Burnley goal and beyond the far post. It was an acute angle, but surely at this late stage, with so much at stake, you should hit the target.
Oh, it's a huge chance. Absolutely massive chance for Emilio Marcondes. Because Cade Gord just gets it out of his feet, left-footed, whips it in low. It ricochets from Marcondes in exactly the same position as Brownhill had at the other end, but he could not find that far corner. He drags it wide with nobody there to tap in, and the big chance has gone.
And we have to make a point of the save by Trafford from the Hernandez cross, because it was over his head and he was scrambling back and he managed to claw it away. It may have dropped in that far corner had he not got there.
And then Barnes had the header that they're claiming handball, but he was right next to him.
We've had the 6 minutes of added time. Can't be long left now. Keep getting multiple balls on the pitch. I don't know what's happening. Sam Allison, the fourth official, has asked someone off the bench there not to throw the balls back in. That's why they're so anxious to get the ball forward, Norwich, but they're now having to defend again. Down the right, near side, Laurent. Cordoba's after him. Laurent is fending him off and then goes down. No free kick, it's a goal kick. This will be the last action, if indeed Norwich can get it into the Burnley half. They might not have time. They want Angus Gunn to take it as quickly as possible. And he thumps it upfield. No sign of the referee blowing his whistle yet. Headed on by Duffy. Hernandez brings it down, gets away from his marker in centre field. It's going to fall for Marcondes, who cannot find signs. Still inside the Burnley half. Marcondes flicks it forward. Burnley trying to get the ball away, but it just will not clear. Now it's on the left of the penalty area. Crescenti crosses in. Again, it takes a deflection. Headed away. There's no more time left. And Burnley, going 8 games unbeaten, have moved up to third in the Championship table with a comeback victory over Norwich, given to them by an extra set of an equaliser from Zian Fleming and an excellent finish by captain Josh Brownhill in the second half to cancel out and then make Jose Cordoba's early header academic at Carrow Road. It's finished 2-1 to Burnley. Dean Ashton.
Impressed with Burnley, especially in that second half. It was an experienced, composed performance from Burnley. Magnificent goal from Fleming to get them level, and then Brownhill with the composure for the second. And then other than that, Marcondes' chance right at the end, I thought they defended well, they controlled the second half, and Norwich just still, without a couple of players that are missing, just look a little bit short, I think, of the top sides in this division, but can certainly take some positives from the first half performance.
All the talk at the moment is about Burnley's defensive record. They've only conceded 8 goals in 21 games, but this was all about working their way back into a game to win it, and the second half they were the better team.
They were, and that would have been the question, is have they got the firepower going forwards in this division to continue to ride with Sheffield United and Leeds? And that, in that second half, I think showed that there is the players in the side that can do it. It's just, can they do it consistently? And that'll give them a huge amount of confidence to be able to come from behind and win here at Carrow Road.
They've moved up to third in the table. They're only a point behind second place Leeds, 4 behind Sheffield United, who they play on Boxing Day. Norwich have got to go to Sunderland next Saturday. Burnley are at home to Watford. What about Norwich now? The inconsistencies just won't go away, will they?
No, but the manager's still very new. His ideas are still going to take time. He hasn't got the key players in his side, Sargent in particular at the top end of the pitch that you're going to need throughout the season. Not just goals, because they haven't struggled to score goals, but in terms of being able to play up to that player, they do miss him. And in terms of the players that came in the summer, they're more projects than they are ready-made.
My thanks to Dean Ashton, who's been alongside me for this commentary. Coming up at 7 o'clock, we've got commentary of Chelsea against Brentford here on Talksport 2. Over on Talksport, it's Southampton against Spurs. Tomorrow, Bournemouth, West Ham. All of those exclusive commentaries on the Talksport network. But from here at Carrow Road, it's goodbye. The final score, Norwich 1, Burnley 2.